In the back room with your Tam, take three.
Hi, I'm Jatam. When I want to listen to some classic R&B hip hop hits, I tune into Tri-Star Radio.
That was great.
Daddy, am I gonna get paid for this?
Get paid and we're back straight to the point, finishing up our topic on the New York Knicks and Stoudemire. The question that you came up with, Mitchell, was: would you trade Stoudemire?
Or can you trade him?
Can you trade
him?
What do you think? What do you think?
Well, see, here's my thing here. Up until this past year, I thought that guys that had these enormous contracts were basically untradeable. But as my grandmother used to say, there's a fool born every minute. And the fool that I'm speaking of is in New Jersey when he bought out or he traded to get Joe Johnson and that ridiculous contract. Now, we all thought that here in Atlanta, that albatross was going to be stuck with us until Armageddon. Let's be honest. I mean, we never thought that we would see the day that Joe Johnson would get traded. Not to say it was all his fault, but hey, thank God he's gone. Because for what he was producing on the court, it just didn't count for the money. And I'm not mad at Joe Johnson. Believe me, there's no haterism in my blood whatsoever that goes against Joe Johnson. Because you can only get the money that you ask for. It's up to the franchise to tell you no. You ask for it. If I go to the bank and I ask for a loan for $20 million and I know my credit score is 349 and they give it to me, well, that's on them. They're the ones who gave it to me. I didn't put a gun to their head and say, hey, you better give me this money. They're the fools who gave it to me. So as it pertains to Stoudemire, I'm taking a look at his salary for the next 3 years and what the Knicks owe him. Starting off with this year, they owe him almost $20 million, $19,948,000 for this year. It escalates next year to $21 million, over $21.5 million. And for the third year, it balloons up to $23,410,000. Can you picture Stoudemire 3 years from now?
See ya.
But what I'm saying is, can you picture his play on the court? And does that garner $23 million?
Ding, 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 ding. I have something to say about that. I think what's going to happen is he's going to go and get surgery like Kobe Bryant did and just revitalize his career.
But at his age, you cannot revitalize your career after all the wear and tear that he has on his body. So even if he was to go and get that surgery, and even if he was to come back somewhat to the level that what he was used to playing, we're talking about 3 years down the road. We're talking about a guy who's been in the league for over 14 years now.
But now, Stoudemire doesn't have a Kobe Bryant game. Kobe Bryant has a jumper. He can take you to the hole. So even if he don't have the ups that he used to have, he can just shoot. He can just shoot your eyes out.
But see, that speaks to my point, being that what do we equate Amari Stoudemire with? His jumping ability, his ability to be physical, go to the hole. Stoudemire's never been a great shooter. Stoudemire's never been a guy that's been able to put the ball on the floor, that has handles that can just make a guy miss as far as on the defensive end. I mean, he's never been that guy. His best physical attribute is his jumping ability. And
he kind of reminds you of like the heavyweight slugger,
right,
not the boxer, the slugger.
Right.
That got a little old and they a little slower.
Right,
they
get punch drunk and they can't put together those 4 and 5 and 6 combinations that they used to.
Are you saying he's a Mike Tyson?
Basically, we call them those one-hitter quitters.
Yeah.
They look for those home runs, and basically what I'm saying is that's what we're talking about with Stoudemire, is that as the years start to accumulate and the wear and tear accumulates on his body, then not only how does he fit with the Knicks, but how does he become a trade commodity? Because who's going to want a person who's been robbed of their best attribute, which is their jumping ability? And not only that, you're being overpaid for what you're doing on the floor.
He might be one of them situations where he's going to get, if they try to get their value, they're going to try to get as much of their money back. So the Knicks might end up paying him 11, and somebody else might end up paying 10. But is he worth 10?
And see, that's the whole thing. That's the biggest question. I say no, he's not for what he's bringing you. But just like I said when we started the conversation, there's a fool born every minute.
Can I call A-Rod to see if we can help us out with that situation?
Well,
He's in that same situation.
Well,
with the
you
New
know
York
what?
Yankees.
So A-Rod too.
He is. A-Rod is.
Situation.
A-Rod is. But to a certain degree, you got to get off the back of my boy A-Rod, man. Because look, although the dude has never produced in the playoffs, but hey, neither did Barry Bonds. But Barry Bonds is one of the greatest of all times. So if you look at it, I think in A-Rod's situation,
is that Barry without the performance enhancement?
Yeah, with the big head or without the big head. Either way you want to look at it, neither one of those heads produce in the postseason. You look at what Barry Bonds did when he was with Pittsburgh before allegedly he was on the juice. I say allegedly. He hasn't been proven guilty yet. But if you take a look at what
size does matter,
it does matter. But if you take a look at what he did, he never showed up in those playoff series against the Braves. You look, and then furthermore, even when he was with the Giants, he didn't show up. And it's the same thing with A-Rod. Does it take away from the legacy? Nah, it doesn't take away from the legacy. But it's still great players altogether.
Okay, we get back on the track. We were talking about Stoudemire and the Knicks and his trading ability. If he can get traded, if he's worth the money that he's actually getting.
What team would want him?
Right.
I mean, Mitchell says a fool born every minute, so we just have to hope. Well, he will have to hope that if he's in there faced with that situation, that there's a fool out there that would willing to trade up for him.
Right, and to tie it all back together with your A-Rod comparison, what I was trying to say was that some people put up good regular season numbers. Some people are just statistical beasts to where they put up just excellent numbers, but it doesn't equate to anything as far as on a championship level. And where the comparison where A-Rod and Stoudemire are similar is that they're both on the downside of their careers and they're not worth the money or what they're getting paid. And furthermore, both are untradeable at this point in their careers.
I see where you're coming from. My whole take on Stoudemire is if he comes back, or when he comes back, can he coexist with the team that's there now? Can he coexist with the team? Can the Knicks still keep the run that they're doing? And if they can, then they're going to keep him. They're going to keep him. But if not, then somebody's got to go.
Well, that's the $50 million question that has yet to been figured out yet. So we'll get the answer later on.
Hey, Mitchell, what do you think about Derrick Rose? When is he coming back? Do you think he's going to be any good?
Well, coming from a person who suffered a knee injury last year in November and knowing how meticulous and how strenuous it is to come back from an injury, man, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. I mean, because his whole thing is his jumping ability, his quickness. And when you're coming back from a knee injury, that robs you of that ability, so to say. I think one of the good things that's for him is that he's young. So he has a good chance to come back from it.
Hey, go to the same doctor that Adrian Peterson went to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I wish I had the money to see him.
Yeah.
Kaiser don't pay for all that.
Speaking of the Bulls, that's the president's team. Congratulations to President Obama for winning his re-election. What is your take on that?
I'll let our political moderator AJ. I'll let him chime in and see what he has to say about that.
Well, that's me. I love the politics and the community. But one thing that I congratulate him also. I think that he ran a very smart and intelligent race. I think the GOP, they lost because they lost their young people, their young vote. When grandpa is sitting there saying all this old crazy stuff, you got, the granddaughter, college student, is asking what the hell is grandpa talking about. So they lost their young base. Then they lost the women because when they started trying to mess with a reproductive organism, when they start talking about this rape situation and stuff like that, women are like, hold on, do I really want this politician involved in my health. Making a decision that's going to concern my health. So they lost the women. Then I don't think they think that the blacks and Latinos was going to come out like they did. So they kind of shot themselves in the foot with that. With the stupid stuff they were saying, they shot themselves in the foot.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, one of the most amazing things and a telltale about the GOP party is that whenever I look at one of their conventions or one of their gatherings, and you take a look at the people that's in the crowd, you take a look at their supporters.
Not diverse at all.
It's not diverse, and it's not indicative of the America that we live in. It's not diverse. You see middle to upper age white Americans, and more male and more males than females.
Now, from the numbers that I've heard, they say it's like 40-something% of their vote was white males, and the other part was older white women, and not including the 1% of the wealthy. But see, if you think about it, also with that, it's the older white women that either A, don't think I'm not going to get raped, B, if I do get raped, I'm too old to be getting. I'm not going to get pregnant.
The Ku Klux Klan is dying. That's just the bottom line.
I think it's more Pacific and broader than that.
I think so. I think that they had it based. Then we have the others. When I say the others, we got the blacks that don't see themselves as being black. You got the Hispanics,
like Nicki Minaj,
don't see themselves as being Hispanic. I'm American. I'm not Hispanic. I'm an American first, and Hispanic second. But when somebody's looking at you, you're Hispanic first,
right,
and everything else second. So you got those others. So I think that what they need to do is get rid of Grandpa. They need to get rid of these Tea Party members, and they need to come back more to the middle. They don't have to come all the way to the left, but they need to come back more to the middle. And all that old rhetoric and stuff like that, they need to stop it because they're not attracted. They're not attracting no new blood to the party.
The Republican Party is all about money.
Well, I see.
And it's all about how the whole thing about the Republican Party is how can I make money the fastest, the best way, the quickest way without being taxed on it.
And not disagreeing with you, but how can I make the most money the fastest without interference from the EPA, from the federal government, the EPA, and all this Food Drug Administration? How can I make the money the fastest, the quickest, without government interference?
And their votes are going away.
Exactly.
The ageless white males, they're slowly dying out. Their votes are going away, and the Democrats are swinging. The Democrats right now, the Democratic Party right now, should win the next elections for the next coming years. And it's their race. It's their race. It's their government to lose.
Well, see, to that point, I have to disagree, and the reason being because if you look at the race itself and you look at the election, you can see where America is very divided. And actually, it was a lot closer than what we anticipated, even though Obama did win going away, but it's a lot closer. And I think the reason being is not necessarily what the Democrats did, it's because of what the GOP did not do. I think that's more the reason why Mitt Romney did not win the election, because of what they did not do. Because the problem is that the Republican Party, the GOP, is in transition. Right now, they're still working on the old platform, their old system. And they're afraid to eschew that old system and move towards the left, because now as they move towards the left, they start thinking like a Democrat. And the old heads are saying, hey, we don't want to do that. We want to stand fast on our beliefs, our tradition, our platform. That is to take care of the wealthy. That is to take care of our own. Build up a solid defense. Eliminate social programs. That's what the GOP platform is based off of. Be tough on illegal immigration. That's what they believe. But America is changing. So therefore, they're going to need to change their platform. And how they go about doing it, what they is we don't know yet. It's undefined. And that's where the GOP is going to have to do some soul searching. Because if you take a look at the election, it was more so it wasn't about what Obama had done. It was more about what Mitt Romney would do and what he would not do. It wasn't based off of it wasn't based off of Obama and his laurels and what he had done over the past 4 years. That rarely got mentioned. Because if you take a look at it to a certain degree, I have to agree with the GOP. If you take a look at it, Obama never mentioned that I did this, and this. It was give me 4 more years so I can do this.
Well, I think it was more. I think it was more a strategy, or why he didn't mention it. Because I think it would have been, in my opinion, I think it would have been excellent strategy points for him to sit here and say, "This is what I've done," and bring it up, talk about it, build your platform off of what you've done. As far as women's rights, as far as equal pay, as far as everything that he's done, and he didn't do it. And I think it had to be part of their strategy. Is one why he didn't bring that stuff up.
I think that because his platform was not strong enough, and not only that, I think his strongest platform was to demonize Mitt Romney, and he was very effective in doing that by painting him as a conservative who would outsource jobs, who does not put America first.
Like I said before, it's all about the money and what I can do with it, and the fastest way I can make it without getting into trouble.
Well, hey, Obama got 4 more years. Hey, despite what I said, of course, I'm still proud of my president.
4 more years, Obama.
Hey, 4 more years. Of course, y'all know where my vote went. But hey, you're tuned in to Straight to the Point. This is Mitchell and Millwood, the Eminem Boys, the greatest sports talk show on the planet right now. We'll be right back right after this.